Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Shireen Bhan. Let's start the show with Mitsubishi. Now, it has come to be synonymous with SUVs in India. But the Mitsubishi Pajero has been in desperate need for an upgrade. In fact, the Toyota Fortuner has been creating waves in India and has been selling like hotcakes. So that's finally prompted Mitsubishi to act, and it's decided to bring in the Pajero Sport. But Sirish didn't want to wait till the car actually got to India, so he went down to Thailand to bring you this exclusive first drive.
Have you noticed how we're all getting a bit soft? I read a study recently that said that ancient man, and I don't mean your grandfather, but Neanderthal man, could run faster than Usain Bolt. He could throw a javelin further than the last guy who won the Olympic gold medal. He could also lift more weights than Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime, and that too with one hand. Hell, they even said that Neanderthal woman could lift more than us guys today. And it's the same with cars. Take Mitsubishi for an example. After making the tough-as-nails Pajero, they followed that up with the Montero, which was good off-road. But then came the Outlander, which really couldn't go up a mountain in Ladakh. So that's why Mitsubishi have gone and hit the gym. They've gone and worked on the basics. And now they've got this, the Pajero Sport. And with this, they hope to take on the Toyota Fortuner. Like the Fortuner, the Pajero Sport doesn't lack street presence. It is big, it is imposing, but where the Toyota is extremely conservative in design, the Mitsubishi is handsome, sinister even, in this shade of black. Up front, there's Mitsubishi's old family grille, as seen on the Outlander, flanked by a set of attractive clear lens headlamps with projector beams. In keeping with the traditional SUV formula, there are strong haunches and the wheel arches are properly pumped up, housing chunky 16-inch wheels. But thanks to the ladder frame chassis, it has a high riding suspension setup, and the gap between the rear wheel arches and tires is gapingly wide. A very strong part of the Pajero Sport are definitely its interiors. It uses a lot of parts from the Outlander, and that gives it a premium and rich feel. It's got a nice touchscreen interface over here, climate control. It's got an Alpine head unit, not an integrated stereo. But in India, in all likelihood, we'll get a Rockford Fosgate system, which will sound fantastic. If you compare this cabin to that of the Fortuner no doubt feels high quality, but it uses parts from the Innova, and that doesn't have a premium or rich feel to it. This feels like money well spent. It feels rich and it feels plush. This SUV uses the same 3.2-litre DID 4-cylinder common rail diesel engine as on the Indian Montero. It develops 165 PS of power and 351 Nm of torque. Refinement is only average, while performance is decent, with 100 km an hour taking approximately 13 seconds. Crucially, the Pajero Sport gets a 4-speed automatic that does blunt performance, but it will be a big selling point, considering the Fortuner doesn't yet get an automatic. In the same way that the Fortuner shares the same basic platform with the Innova and the Hilux pickup, the Pajero Sport too shares its platform with the Triton pickup. Judging by the sheer number of them on the roads, it seems to be a popular pickup here in Thailand. Dynamics aren't as great as say the Outlander or even the Montero. It does pitch, it does wallow, doesn't handle too well. But then again, if you compare it to the Fortuner, it's almost in the same ballpark. The Sport has a rugged go-anywhere ability thanks to the pickup truck-derived ladder frame chassis, and you don't even blink when faced with challenging terrain. There's a generous 215mm of ground clearance, and with the excellent axle articulation and strong bottom end grunt, she found traction and could keep going even when one wheel was hoiked in the air and the other scrabbling on some loose sandy patches. Unlike the Fortuner, the Pajero Sport doesn't have full-time four-wheel drive. Instead, it uses shift-on-the-fly super select four-wheel drive system similar to the Indian Pajero. Up to speeds of 100 km an hour, you can shift from 2 to 4-wheel drive and also lock the center differential. but shifting to 4-low requires coming to a stop, wrestling the short stubby 4x4 lever all the way forward. It is an old school affair, but the charm of a genuine 4x4 SUV are these rugged man toys that need a bit of muscle. Goes without saying that Mitsubishi has to price the Pajero Sport competitively. Here in Thailand, the Fortuner and the Pajero Sport are priced identically the same. And it has to be the same in India. But then what do you do with the old Pajero? Where do you slot that? After all, the old Pajero is more expensive than the Fortuner. But what Mitsubishi has to realize that if Toyota doesn't ask for a brand premium, Mitsubishi definitely can't. There's actually a solution to Mitsubishi's positioning problem. Upcoming emission regulations mean the old Pajero will have to be phased out of metros and will be renamed Pajero Classic and sold in smaller towns. That will allow the Pajero Sport to conveniently slot in its place and at 20 lakh rupees offer the first credible alternative to the Fortuner. Progress is a good thing. For instance, we no longer club our women on their heads, drag them by the hair to the cave and sow our oats. We shave. But there is something to be said for going back to the basics, for being a man, for showing off some chest hair, and for driving a proper man's car. The Pajero Sport, now this is a proper man's SUV. This is no soft-roader, this is a thoroughbred off-roader, and you saw what it can do. In fact, when this finally comes to India, Mitsubishi will have an SUV to take on the Fortuner. Maybe even teach the Fortuner a trick or two.